everybody? Car Dreamer here, coming at you on behalf of D-Class and all things D-Class related. And today I'm bringing you a very special Let's Discuss. It's special for a couple of reasons. One, it's probably going to be a little more lengthy than a lot of ours. Also, because it's the first time you get to see all of this. And come on. Yeah, I know. Most of you tuned out already. But it's also the first time I'm doing this by myself. With the passing of Ash, it's kind of hard to have a conversation with yourself and not look like you're nuts. That's why we do it behind closed doors, right? But the topic of today's discussion is basically why I'm done with Destiny. And for those who know me, there is a huge love-hate relationship when it comes to me and Destiny and what that franchise represents. So I want to kind of break it down, talk about my history with it, talk about what I did like about it, what I hate about it, and why I feel like it's just time to move on. I don't begrudge anybody who likes this franchise. I don't begrudge anyone who likes the game in its current state. That's the beautiful thing about being gamers. We can all like different things and share and talk. That's what the point of these videos are about, is just to discuss it. So please, by all means, leave your comments down below. Give counterpoints, give points, agree, disagree. That's fine, as long as we all keep it civil and respect each other. It's totally cool. So I guess the first thing is how I got into Destiny. And that actually started with my brother. When Destiny 1 kind of first came out, he said he found this game that he thought we could play together. Kind of like we did Neverwinter Nights. We were playing together for a while, and then it kind of just fell off. And when I say Neverwinter Nights, I mean the MMO that's free to play. And that is a great game, by the way. I have no qualms with that game. I've supported it financially just because I've loved it. But we kind of just got into other things and whatever, and we thought this would be a great game to come back to. Or, well, not come back to, a great game to get back into gaming together. So I picked up the game, the season pass. So, $60 for a game. I think it was like $25 for the season pass, $25 at the time for Destiny 1. And we jumped in. And it really was fun. I loved a lot of the aspects of that game. Because, for those who don't know, Destiny is a looter shooter. It's a first-person perspective, and it's all about collecting different loot. It's all about acquiring different things. And back in Destiny 1, when it first started, it was great. There was such a wide variety of things to get. Like, every time you scored a new weapon and you were leveling up and able to use something, whether it was a common, uncommon, rare, exotic, it didn't matter. It felt powerful, it felt different, and there was a wide range of items in every category, and that's very key for me. There was a variety of the rares. There was a variety of commons. So even you were as low level, you were able to feel somewhat different from everyone else starting out, because not only was there a huge wide variety of things to mix and match, they had random rolls. So even though you could have the same piece of armor per se, as far as what it was called and looked like, doesn't mean the stats and perks were the same. And that was really cool. So yeah, there was just huge variety to the game. And so we stuck with it. The game was challenging. We met some cool friends. We just had a blast doing Destiny. But then they started changing it, and then you realize it just got monotonous. And so, they started doing little things. They took out most of the rares. They took out most of the commons. And it was basically, in the end, they said it was because there just wasn't room in the database or loot tables or whatever, what have you. But it was a real shame because you had no qualms breaking it at that point. Like, how can you call yourself a looter shooter if you're getting the same couple of pieces all the time? It was so depressing the way they did now. Now, by the time those changes came into play, I mean, it didn't really affect me at a lower level because I was already high enough, but it affected a lot, and just even with legendaries and stuff and the more powerful gear, it's still you can tell things weren't the same. But there was challenge involved in this game. There was everything. And the game is a beautiful game. The shooting mechanics are really good. I will never take this away. These are, Destiny's made by Bungie, the same people who brought you Halo. So, I can't say they don't know how to do a shooter. They do. But it's just everything else. So, the expansion packs felt really small. And I felt like not enough was being introduced. And it got to be the same old grinds. The same old strikes, which are short little missions. And yes, once you beat the story, there was nothing new. There was like a couple of raids. Nothing to keep me there. So my brother quit completely because he hated what they were doing with the game. And I kind of just fell away for years and years. And it wasn't until I met another person that I got them, that they were getting into gaming, and I introduced them to Destiny, don't know why, but I did, and they loved it. They absolutely loved it, and I started playing with them, and it was fun to get back into the game, don't get me wrong. It was fun to get back into playing with another person. And a new expansion that come out at the time, and there's where I started having other problems. So I have a season pass that was only good for these two short little things. And then this other one was $35. And I was like, but it was huge. It was a huge expansion. It did do a lot of game-changing things. Not arguing that. So, I bought it. That friend bought it, and we just went at it. We met other people, and we played consistently, constantly. Then they did another expansion. That one was $40. So, I mean, look at the price tag you invested in this. And it was $60, $25, so there's $20, so there's $80 to $85 right there. Another 30 so another 70 between the Taken King expansion and Rise of Iron. So 70, so $155, give or take, plus tax. You invest in this game, and they kept nerfing it, and then they introduced microtransactions. So they put all the really cool-looking stuff behind paywalls. And they were still reducing tables, loot tables, but nonetheless, there was some cool stuff. And case in point, like back when you did the multiplayer aspect of it, people held on to their old stuff, even though some of them weren't even available in the game anymore, and which I did in part as well. And it was fun because you could go into multiplayer and they were still viable. I was using rare stuff just because it was fun. And it was also fun because you could have themed sets. I tried to do everything Queen related. Queen of the Awoken in the expansion, and I had a full suit that was Queen gear. Weapons I was using that was all Queen related. Ship, the whole 9 yards, and I loved it. It was fun. You could somewhat actually roleplay in this game. It was very superficial, but you could do it. Because there was a story to tie it into. So, those are the things I loved about it. But then we started getting into things we didn't like about it. The story was very generic. It was very lacking in some ways. So all the background, all the history, you couldn't even get in-game. You had to find these ghosts which are little things that kept your guardian alive, little robots, AI robots, and you would have to go to a website or use an app to actually read any of the stuff you were finding, which bugged the crap out of me. And also, they don't explain anything. Like, in-game, they don't explain the reasons why the solar system or galaxy is in the state it's in. They don't explain why you don't take back your solar system, your planet, the galaxy. They don't explain why you're not bringing the fight to your enemy. You have like these 3 to 4 different enemies all encroaching in your territory, and all you do is hold your own. And it kind of really bugged me. And they don't explain where they come from. They don't really explain why they're coming. They don't. It's just really annoying. And why everything has to be in your own home, your solar system, which I really do and I don't, doesn't bug me. I don't know. Maybe because it just seems like I wanted to see exotic places, but yet there was very few exotic places to see. At least that's how I felt. I mean, you can go to the moon. You were able to go to a ship in Saturn's ring. I mean, it's not that there weren't places to go. I know some things I'm saying sound contradictory, but they're not. But there was just, it felt lacking. Even though there might be a reason you're going on these raids, surgical strikes, they don't seem to tie together in an overarching story. And it bugged me, because I felt like it was lazy writing. So I kind of was done with it at that point. Not that I didn't have fun with some stuff, but it's just they either shortcut it, didn't explain anything, and it was lazy. And I don't like laziness when it comes to my stories. Fast forward to Destiny 2, I kind of didn't want to jump on it. I was torn. But Ash and I did play the beta, and we liked what little we saw at the time. They made promises, but then there were things that the developers and so forth even said during the making of the game that really, really put me off. And one of them was that they dumbed down the variety of ways you could upgrade and invest in your Guardian and power them up, so to speak, or level them up in the abilities, so to speak. They dumbed it down. They gave you 3 options, that was it. And that really annoyed me, because it wasn't complicated to begin with. And it was lazy. It was so lazy to sit there and be like, yeah, we dumbed it down because, not everybody knows how to get the most out of their stuff, or people didn't do this or didn't do that. And I'm like, it wasn't complicated. People had a variety of different ways to play the way they wanted to, and you were just lazy, so you went ahead and just did this. And it really set me off the wrong way. But I got the game, and there were some fun things I liked about it, so I tried it, and I still played with this other friend. They got it too. And this is where problems began again, because the game right off the bat introduced, I think, microtransactions again. Me and my friends, we dropped $100 right off the bat on the game and getting the collector's edition, digital collector's edition, what have you. And in the end, I don't feel like I got my money's worth even with that. You got a ghost. A special ghost in-game. Whoopee. It just, I expected more, and there wasn't. But it also came with the Season Pass, which was good for 2 expansions, again. And so, and those expansions were a little better, but than what they did with Destiny 1. But again, it was short. Loot tables were still small, even though that they made promises that it would be so much easier to do. You couldn't import anything from the first game that you did, so you couldn't import really your character. I think you were able to import the way your character looked, but that was about it. You couldn't import gear, level, anything else. You started over. Not that there wasn't an explanation for that, but eh. And what also really kind of upset me was, again, stories were vague. They still didn't address a whole lot from the first game as far as stories. They changed what certain things were, like the darkness and so forth. It was wishy-washy from the start. I felt like they made this big deal about a new hub world to go to. It was useful for a couple of missions, and then you didn't go back. There was no need to ever go back. You lost a hub world, went to the new one just to get more or less the same old hub world that you started with. It was at the same place, just a different area. I mean, it was just really lazy again. They made a lot of promises that they didn't follow through on, in my opinion. I'm jumping all over the place, but this is just so many things that I didn't like. They made promises that certain things were going to be in the game to honor a character that they killed off, which happened to be the only good character that everybody loved and didn't want to see go. That's why they killed him, because it was the only one that would have an impact. Never got put in the game. Like I said, tweaking your Guardian's abilities was lazy. Stories after that got a little lazy. They still didn't explain anything, even though, he's a warm. What is this person? They never tell you. It's just, I hated it. Everything revolved around doing the same old strikes. Everything revolved around doing the same old multiplayer. And it got boring. So, we introduced these 5 new weapons, but you got to do the same old stuff to get them. It would have been great to have, every time they introduced a new set of things for an expansion, that there was something new to do to earn them. And it's not that they didn't do that to some degree. They have. I'm not going to begrudge them that, like the menagerie and things like that. Menagerie, however you want to pronounce it. They have. But it seemed very little. They introduced a new multiplayer mode called Gambit, which was kind of a mix between PvE and PvP, which I'll give them props for. I really didn't mind that mode. I did play it a lot. And there was some cool looking gear to get, but again, microtransactions are huge. They definitely put a lot of cool stuff behind them, and they were pushing it big time. By the time the third expansion came out, another $80, another $80 on top of the $100 I've already spent. This includes the expansion and an annual pass again. Like, what the flip, right? So you're looking at $180. And it was a fun story, but it didn't make a lot of sense in some ways either. And now there's a new expansion coming called Shadowkeep, where you go back to the moon in these areas and locations from the first game. So, and we'll get into that in addition to a bigger overall dislike. So now I spent $180 on Destiny 2, and they want another $60. $60. Because it includes another, I believe it includes another pass or something. There's a deluxe edition, I know that. So now I'm looking at 180 plus 60, so $240. And not only that, but they announced that the game is going free to play. So, and they're giving nothing to compensate for the people who've invested the 180 prior. Nothing. You're going free to play, and anybody has access to everything up to the last expansion, or the current new one, Forsaken. To me, that's a slap in the face. Especially the people who were there from both games that spent all this money, and you're giving nothing back to the community that kept it alive. That's huge to me. And they recycle assets, so they said they couldn't import anything. They got rid of random rolls. They said it was impossible to do, and it's not, because they did it in Destiny 1. I heard people argue they can't do that with the new vendor. They can. They can implement the exact same thing they did with the first game. They they're using a lot of same locations. They're reusing. Well, and I say that in regards to Shadowkeep. Um, now they brought back half of the new stuff that they introduced to get. Oh, there's a new mission to get this. There's a new quest to get that. But it's all from old stuff. It's all from Destiny 1. And that's great that people want these old stuff, weapons back, but I just invested $180. Give me a little bit more new. And again, a lot of it you have to keep doing the same old things, strikes, whatever. But I will give Destiny 2 that there is a lot more to do. In addition to all the stuff they brought back from D1, as far as there's the Crucible, which is the PvP, there's strikes, there's story. You can replay stories in a playlist, but you can't click on stories anymore. You can't pick the story you want to do anymore, which is kind of depressing. That was kind of fun. You can't, or they brought back the general stuff, but now there's Gambit and there's stuff, new locations, and there's patrols got a little revamped, and there's what have you. They revamped some things, and they did do some nice things. And again, Destiny 2 is a beautiful game, even better looking than the first one. I will not begrudge the looks. But now, $60 for an expansion that goes back reusing remastered assets from the first one? I mean, and again, other people are going to get most of the game for free and only have to put out a little bit. Well, if I want to play, I've now totally put it, like I said, $240. So that just really bugs me. Apparently, it's been made a comment that the Bungie has said that they can't keep, when the seasons end, they can't keep events they introduced in the game. They said it would be too much to do, so they'll have to find ways that when they introduce new events to get back the old rewards. And I'm like, well, so I have something new to do to get the same old stuff. That, again, seems really half-baked. I don't like that. No one's ever complained in their life about having too much to do in a game. No one says you have to do it all. But man, the more options you have, the more variety your game has. The more variety your game has, the more there is for everybody. The more there is for everybody, the more people play your game. Makes sense to me, right? So you hear me just bashing and trashing, and that's not how I want this to per se be. I am explaining why I'm done with the game as a whole. Because I feel like for what little things they introduced that are new, the Forge stuff from Forsaken, the Dreaming City stuff with the Menagerie, those are fine. And I will never knock them. But I feel like they nickel and dime, and then they slap in the face the loyalty, the loyal fan base they had. And I don't want a part of it. I've wasted so much money for very little gain, in my opinion. I do not feel there's $280 worth of game. And I know there's been the whole blame of Activision or Bungie doing this or doing that. I'm sure it's both of them. I'm not going to blame one over the other. But this is just my opinion, and these are just my feelings. I think the game has potential to be what it could be. I would love to see more intricate storylines woven in and out with side missions. I would like to see more variety in the strikes if I have to keep redoing strikes. I don't feel like there is nearly enough variety. I would like to see, honestly, more variety in loot that is obtainable. I am tired of earning the same little bit of what there's very little loot rotations in the different elements or aspects. Like Crucible has very little loot to win. If you're going to keep playing Crucible, you're going to get the same old crap over and over and over again. You want to do the strikes, you're going to get the same old crap over and over and over and over again. It's just ridiculous. Vendors have almost no use in Destiny 2. It's a very desolate game for something that's supposed to have RPG elements and something that's supposed to have this hub world. What is the point when you just go to a vendor to get bounties to get the same old stuff? I want to see variety. It's a looter shooter. Give me loot. Give me variety of loot. Make me want to go out and collect it. And I don't see that. But a lot of people have fun with just the gameplay. A lot of people have fun with the scenery. A lot of people have fun with the characters. And there is great multiplayer aspect to it as far as connectivity, as far as working together. Again, I don't knock that. It is there. And for those who enjoy it, um, that's great. I'm not going to knock it down. I want you to continue to enjoy it, continue to support it. It's just not for me. And it's a shame because I do have, again, fond memories. I met some great people through the game. Um, Dragoon, Demon Knight, my brother I had so much fun with. Not that I met him through the game, but you get the point. Um, Heliquin, JB. I mean, I met some great people. And a lot of fun. I will miss them. I miss playing with them, but I can't do. I just can't do it anymore. I don't want to keep wasting money in that regard. I got so many cool unboxings as you all see, but yeah. So that's really my take on this. I guess I was able to get it out a little more clear than I thought I was going to be. I didn't want to get too detailed because I really don't want to sit here and be negative, 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 negative. It's just my opinion on why I'm done with the game. So I appreciate everyone taking the time to look. Again, there are some great elements that they expanded upon that would have been amazing as far as story goes. The gameplay is rock solid. We'll never knock that. The shooting mechanics are awesome. Visuals are beautiful. There's a lot of room for growth in that game, and I hope it does someday reach what it should be. I just don't want to wait and invest in a third or fourth game for it to finally do it. And plus, there are so many other great games out there. I just want to relax and go out and explore them. Anyway, thank you all for watching and listening. I appreciate it. Leave your comments down below. Again, what you think of Destiny, if it's a game you still enjoy. Do you agree with the points I'm making? Do you disagree and why? But let's just be nice and friendly and keep the discussion going. Till next time, I'm Card Dreamer D-Class. Thank you all for watching. Till next time, stay evil.